Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit. Today we are joined by John Kormanik, who is a professional certified coach, a former law firm owner, and the author of Break the Law, a story of a reimagined career and a reclaimed life. John, welcome to the show.
It is awesome to be here, Adrian. Thank you so much for having me.
And can we start off? Can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the people you help?
Sure. So as you said in the intro, I am some people would call me a recovering lawyer. I am not a recovering lawyer. I loved practicing law. I didn't leave because I was burnt out or stressed out. I left because I wanted to have a greater impact in the world. So I owned a law firm for 16 years. I led the law firm the entire time. Really enjoyed leading my teams, working and collaborating with my partners. I left the law because I wanted to have a greater impact in the world, and I wanted to be geographically independent. And so now I have both. I have a greater impact, and I am indeed geographically independent. The people that I coach, that I team up with, are all attorneys, number one. They are the world over, number two, because what ails attorneys in Boise, Idaho, where I am right now, and in Bangladesh, It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's mindset. It's how we think, how we lawyers think. And so I coach people all around the world. Most of the folks I coach are founders who have now grown a team and want to really transition out of the practice of law, except for those very specific cases that they want to be involved in, and want to be more entrepreneurial and lean into the entrepreneurial space of law firm ownership.
Wow. And what are some of the problems that these people are experiencing that are making them come to you? Are those problems solely professional and in their business, or some of them personal? What kind of problems are they facing?
People will talk about a business coach or they will talk about a life coach. We are all just one human being. And so anything that affects us in our business, whether it is a lack of vision for the future or a vision that is smaller than we really want it to be because we're holding ourselves back and we think that, well, that's not possible. Anytime we think like that in our business, it affects our personal life. And anytime we think like that in our personal life, it affects our business life.
Sure.
We're not separate people, right? The whole work-life dichotomy is false. We are one person. How I describe it is you have a shop. You have a shop on Main Street, and you walk in and you turn the close sign to open and your shop is open. You're in business hours. At the end of business hours, which, by the way, must end, your business hours must end. You have to have a finite point where you then shift the sign to closed and explore your personal life. So the issues that people come to me with are leadership issues. How do I communicate effectively? How do I lead in the space? How do I promote from within or identify talent from without to bring in that doesn't ruin the culture, but supports the culture that I'm trying to build? What culture do I want? How do I be successful? What does success mean to me? Those are all the types of things that people come to me with.
And you mentioned some of the things that hold people back, and I'm curious, are there some common limiting beliefs that you see law firm owners have or hold that are really, you see time and time again?
100%. I write about these in my book, Break the Law. There are 5 lies that lawyers tell themselves. And other professions have told me, well, those are not exclusively to lawyers, John. But my experience from being trained as a lawyer and practicing law, these 5 lies really hold back what we are capable of. Lie number 1, you have to grind all the time to be successful. Do lawyers work hard? Yes. Yes, they do, but it ought not feel like a grind all the time. If it does, you're missing the most important ingredient, and that is passion. Because if you're passionate, it doesn't feel like a grind. Just ask Will I Am. He says, look, if you're passionate about something, you will work on it and work on it and work on it and never feel tired or burnt out, right? So you have to grind all the time to be successful is line number one. Line number two, if I'm not busy, I'm lazy. That means for lawyers, I am constantly out there doing either the legal work or getting clients. I do not allow myself white space on my calendar to just sit and think, to think strategically, to ask what is holding me back. Line number three, you have to be available 24/7. When I practiced law, I did quite a bit of death penalty work here in the state of Idaho. There's not much more intense work than that.
Right.
So life is literally in your hands. I was not available 24/7 to but two people when I practiced law, and those two people are the same today as a coach. They are my wife and my daughter. I'm not available 24/7 to anyone else. It's a recipe for failure.
Right.
And the reason that I say that is because human beings, we are built to focus on failure, to focus on where things fall down. That's how we survived as the apex species. And so if you tell your clients or your team that you're available 24/7 and you are there 99 times out of 100, people are going to remember the one time that you weren't. And
Right.
so you have to build guardrails. So that's line number three. You have to be available 24/7. Line number four, money will make me happy. Money does not equate to happiness. Now, I want to be really, really clear. I am a huge fan of money. I'm a huge fan of making money. I'm a huge fan of doing elite coaching that requires elite commitment by my clients. What I'm saying is money will make me happy is just another way of saying it's the arrival fallacy. The arrival fallacy is coined by a researcher at Columbia at the time. He may be at Harvard, or I may have those reversed. But the arrival fallacy is I'll be happy when. That's not how it works. Be happy now, and the when will come. The when will come, and you'll be happy all along the way. That's line number four. Money will make me happy. Line number five, which I think is the most pernicious and the quietest one, but it has the greatest impact, is asking for help is a sign of weakness. Asking for help is weakness, right? We hear all the time from the Silicon Valley world, right? From the tech world. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Lawyers really struggle with that because, look, our name is our reputation. We have to know the answers when we're client facing, right? We build ourselves up internally to perform externally. And so we think that asking for help is weakness, but it's actually a sign of strength. If you look at any CEO of a Fortune 50 company, they all have members on their team to help them. They have coaches, they have consultants, they have these people who they can go to and say things that they wouldn't say to anybody else. And almost as importantly, if not more importantly, those folks, those coaches, consultants will tell them things nobody else will tell them. That's how you get to achieving your full potential, is having somebody standing by your side. So those five lies are really the limiting beliefs that lawyers have that hold them back from achieving their full potential.
Thank you so much for peeling back the cover a little bit on that. I mean, and I feel like those apply really to anybody in any endeavor, not just lawyers. So that's great advice, great information. I'm curious, was there a moment in time where you really realized I have to put these notions, put these concepts and ideas, I have to get this down in a book?
There was, and I will tell you, I have coaches. I've had coaches for years, right? Because that thing that tells us the world has enough books. They don't,
Right.
John, they don't need to hear from you. You have nothing to say that hasn't already been said. And I was talking with one of my coaches, and she said, there is no one who has had your experience up
Mm.
until today. There is no one on the planet. I mean, there are 8+ billion people on the planet, I think. And there is no one who has walked a second in your shoes, John. There is no one who will say it exactly how you want to say it. And if that empowers one lawyer to take a look and have a better life, isn't that worth it? And
Yeah.
my answer was, of course, yes, because I love to serve. It's my number one core value is service. And so it was taking the spotlight off of me and saying, God, you have nothing to say. You have nothing new. You have nothing original. And putting it on the people that I know who would benefit from just one sentence in a 270-page book. If they benefit from one sentence and change their life just a little bit, and they're happier and they're more productive and they honestly reach the end with fewer regrets, then that's worth it. That was the moment when I said, okay, I'm going to write the book.
Right. And you mentioned that your core value is service. And I'm curious, can you speak a little bit about the role that core values play in business ownership and in leadership?
Yeah, it sounds so simple. You must know your core values. You probably have some idea of them, but you must define them.
Right.
And I follow Brene Brown's model of identify 3. You have to identify 3 core values, not 4, not 7, 3. Going through that work is really telling because you'll have to decide between, your top 10. These are my top 10. Okay, give me 3. And that's where the challenge comes in. Once you've decided and committed to your top 3 core values, and you really know what they are, but putting them down on paper
Right.
is really something changes in your brain. If you are doing things that are not in alignment with your core values, you will not feel consistent. You're going to feel friction. You will feel like, oh, that thing that they say I ought to do, I'm not doing. Why is that? Well, maybe I'm afraid to do it because it's outside of my comfort zone. Okay. Maybe it's misaligned with who I am because they don't get to tell you what to do. You get to tell you what to do. And so if you're in this space and you are an entrepreneur, you're a partner, you're a leader, and you're not in alignment with your core values, it's going to show. People will know and you will know. And it creates a tremendous amount of stress within us.
I feel like I'm going to get off this call and sit here with a piece of paper and go, man, what are mine?
That would be fantastic. I love that. You can reach out to me. We'll have my email and stuff at the end, but reach out to me. I'm happy to send you a core values tool.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. And for folks who are listening, please reach out. I'm happy to send it to you. My team will get it to you. It is something that is foundational to your success, is identifying your core values.
Now, you're a professional certified coach. You mentioned you've had coaches. Can we talk a little bit about the importance of having a coach and what it sort of looks like maybe if a law firm owner really needs a coach but doesn't take that step to go and find someone to help?
I'll start with the second. If they identify the need and they don't take the step, they're going to remain stuck. And they're going to know that they're stuck, and it's going to be exceedingly painful. A coach is someone, there's a couple ways to describe it. One way to describe it is you can't read the ingredients on the cereal box from the inside. And we are all in our own box. We're all there. Another way to describe it is the famous Dallas Cowboys football coach, Tom Landry, said it perfectly. A coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, helps you see what you don't want to or can't see, so that you can become all you have the possibility of becoming.
Wow.
At the end of the day, they're called blind spots for a reason. You
Right.
can't see them. And having someone like me on your team say, hey, this is what I'm hearing from you. Is that right? And my client just stop and say, when you put it that way, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then we move on in the conversation. So what does that mean for you? How does that affect you? I had a coaching call yesterday with a world-class attorney. And he was having a struggle with his junior partner. He was having a struggle with the junior partner picking things up and doing things. And in our conversation a bit earlier in the session, he had talked about reaching out to a contact, a referral partner, to give that referral partner some work because someone in his firm wasn't up to the task. And I connected the two, and I just asked the question, what did you learn and how can you bring that to the second issue with your junior partner? And the light bulb went off. It's like, oh my goodness gracious. I never thought of it that way. Anytime I hear that, I never thought of it that way. Or that's a great question. I have done my job for the day.
Right. And, you mentioned getting stuck and sort of the dangers and pitfalls of burnout. What are some of the dangers and pitfalls of burnout? And what is your sort of unique approach to pushing people past that?
Oh, well, the dangers of burnout are really well known, right? It's fatigue, it's illness, it's failure in leadership, it's you wind up not able to communicate. More importantly, almost, is your work product decreases. Client satisfaction will decrease if you're burnt out or on the path to burnout. And so the constellation of results of burnout are significant, right? They are significant. I don't push people past burnout. I think that's a mistake. Lawyers specifically, the research shows that lawyers have more grit than anybody else, which means we'll work our tails off. We will work really hard to achieve the goal. That's not the point. The point is not how hard you work. The point is achieving the goal. And so what I do with my clients who are fearful of approaching burnout or in burnout is I have them stop. We step back. What is happening here? Are you misaligned with your core values? Are you failing to delegate and rely on your team, either because you don't trust them or because you're trained as a lawyer and you believe that no one can do it as well as you? And, or is it that you are not performing work in what I call your $400,000 a minute mindset, or what some people call your zone of genius? Or, are you doing things that you ought not be doing? So is your plate too full, right? A lot of people just think burnout is my plate is too full. That's not true. That's not true. There's a misalignment. There can be misalignment with core values. There could be unfairness that you see in the space, whether it's on your team or in your organization. There are a bunch of things that contribute to burnout over and above workload. And recognizing that and addressing all of them, not simultaneously, but one at a time, pulls people back from burnout as opposed to pushing them through it. It pulls them back and they kind of reset.
And your sort of approach to coaching, if you will, it's a unique blend of trainings and disciplines. I mean, DISC assessment, power dynamics, IPEC. Can you sort of tell us what some of those things are that you've blended into your unique approach and how you arrived at that unique approach?
Yeah. So my whole coaching philosophy is based on the concept of energy leadership. There's a book by Bruce D. Schneider called Energy Leadership. He is the founder of IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. That's my coaching program that I went through. When I talk about energy with lawyers, a percentage of them roll their eyes and think, "Oh my goodness, this is woo-woo." I will tell you, I did the same when I first was introduced to the concept. Here's what energy means in this space. It's your attitudes, perceptions, and beliefs. That's all it is. And so that is the basis of all my coaching. With every single coaching session that I do, I will pull energy leadership in. There's two basic concepts in energy leadership. I'm not going to bore you with all of them, but there's two basic concepts. You're either in fight, flight, or freeze. So you're under stress, or you can be strategic. You can pull back and be at a 30,000 foot level. You can't be at a 30,000 foot level if you're under stress. It's impossible. Your physiology will not allow it. So that's one of the things, one of the pillars. The second pillar is DISC, which is a communication assessment. It's a personality assessment as opposed to an attitudinal assessment, which the Energy Leadership Index is. DISC is, how do you communicate with the person sitting across the table from you on your team? The biggest myth, and this is George Bernard Shaw, the biggest myth in communication is the belief that it has occurred. That's it. We think that we're talking to somebody and they're hearing exactly what we're saying, how we're saying it, and they're getting it. That's a myth. DISC helps us understand the person across the way from us, understand ourselves, and communicate at a really base level so that things get done. The final area that I'm interested in, and is the third leg of the stool, or the third pillar, is flow. The psychology of flow states. You'll hear athletes talk about being in the zone. That's flow. That's what it is. And there are ways for people like me who stand behind a desk, people like your listeners who, sit at a desk, lead teams, to understand flow in the workplace and create that experience for themselves. And when they do that, time dilates, they get more done in less time. It's of higher quality. And in fact, they are able to, while not create more time, they are able to create more space because time changes for them. It alters. And so energy leadership is one pillar. DISC, communication, is another pillar. And flow, the neuroscience of flow, is the third that I bring into my coaching.
In all your years of coaching, of all the people and business owners and law firm owners that you have helped, can you share with us a story of a business or a client that you really saw a positive transformation in as a result of your help and guidance?
Oh, 100%. I was coaching a law firm owner in the Pacific Northwest. They started out as a true solo. They worked their tail off and grew to a law firm of about a headcount of 40 total. They were in the low seven figures of annual gross revenue. They came to me because they knew that what they were doing in the past that got them to that point was not going to get them to 8 figures and have a life that was worth living. And so they came to me. All of my coaching engagements are a minimum of 1 year because that's how long it takes to do the work.
Right.
So they came to me, and about 4 months in, they said, when we first teamed up, I thought this was going to be a lot of, tactics and checklists and things that lawyers love. We love tactics. We love getting in, monkeying around. Most founders do, right? We love getting in and doing because it feels productive. And she said, that's not it at all, is it? I said, well, what do you think it is? They said, this is the hardest work I've ever done because it requires me to look in the mirror and be 100% honest. And it requires me to put down things that make me comfortable, things that I do, the client work that I do. It makes me super comfortable because I'm really good at it. But I have to put that down, and I have to step into a space of recognizing that my work now is thinking. That is my highest and best use, is thinking and leading my leadership team, not getting down into the weeds, not doing the legal work. It is stepping back.
Right.
And they're on the pathway to 8 figures.
Wow.
They will probably hit 8 figures. I mean, it's as we're talking, it's December 2nd. I'm fairly confident they'll be at 8 figures this year because they were able to step back instead
Wow.
of stepping in and doing more.
And I mean, that self-reflection, that can be a very, very tough process. Why do you think that's so difficult for people?
I'm not a psychologist. Well, I'm gonna lawyer it here and put an asterisk. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. But I think it's because for lawyers especially, we're trained to know the answers. And if we are honest with ourselves, we just don't. Outside of the law, our particular specialty, we just don't know. And that's a scary place for humans to be. I don't know. It's a very scary place because back millennia ago, if we didn't know, we had a huge chance of being kicked out of the tribe and of dying.
Right.
And so that self-reflection is the hardest thing to do. And it's the most essential thing to do to get to where it is you want to go.
Now, you mentioned earlier your core value is service. And I mean, just in this, half an hour that we've been talking, I can tell that everything that you have done throughout your career is from a place of service, is from a place of helping people. Is that drive to help, is that something that is just innate to your character, or is that an attribute that you've cultivated along the way?
That's a great question. You earn your coaching certificate, your coaching badge for today, because that's a great question. It is, I believe my core value of service is ingrained in me. It's in my DNA. My mom was a nurse. So I was raised, my oldest sister is now a retired special education teacher. My next oldest sister was an oncology nurse and an oncology nurse practitioner. Before I went to law school, I was a respiratory therapist, and then I was a lawyer, and now I'm a coach. And so it's in my DNA. The thing that I must guard against, though, and this goes for all service-based people. If you find a core value of service, you must guard against excluding yourself from that service mindset. In the past, I have served others to the detriment of myself. That doesn't work. You can't do that. It's not sustainable. So anytime and 99% of my clients, their attitudinal assessment demonstrates that service is very, very important to them. It's not surprising.
Right.
Including yourself in service, i.e. being selfish, what the world might label as selfish, or what you tell yourself the world would label as selfish, is essential. Including yourself in there is essential, because otherwise none of it works. Because without you, none of it happens. Right.
And you mentioned, to the detriment of yourself, being at service to the others, in the detriment of yourself. And, I'm curious, are there any other, I'm sure in your years of doing this, in your years of owning a law firm and in your practice, I'm sure along the way you've made some mistakes. Are there some mistakes that you've made along the way that our listeners might be able to learn from your mistake so they don't have to make the same mistake themselves?
100%. The number one mistake that I made that really had the potential to affect significantly my success as a law firm owner, my personal relationships with the people in my orbit, was the failure to have conversations when things first began to seem a little bit off to me. Right. I was on a call this morning with a world-class lawyer from Germany. And I talked to them about, we're really good at picking things up and having them weigh us down and weigh us down and weigh us down until there's that one thing that sets us off. And, we go over the edge. And the person who we go over the edge against is looking at us like, what is going on here? That thing is so small. Why are you so upset? It's not that thing. It's all of the things.
Right.
And so in the misguided service of not harming relationships, we don't have conversations. And that is the thing that will most negatively affect your ability to lead, is not having conversations. You got to have them. You got to have them fast. You got to have them first. You have to be honest. You ought not hold back. And when you do that, and you do it when the things are pebbles in your shoes instead of boulders on your back, things are quite different.
Well, John, this has been an absolutely fantastic conversation. If anyone out there listening could use your help and services, could use your guidance, or would like to read the book, where can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, my website is johnrkormanik.com. I'm on LinkedIn, John R. Kormanik. Find me. I'm on all the platforms. Find me, reach out. I'm happy to have a conversation. The first step that I take with folks is a strategy call. I ask 5 questions that they haven't ever thought about. And they always walk away with, oh, that was really impactful, whether they work with me or not. Or you can go to my website. There are resources to download. If you want the core values exercise, I'm not sure it's there. Email me. I'm happy to have my team send it to you.
Well, John, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Adrian. You take care and have a wonderful day.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Partnerships for Profit, presented by LeDuc Entertainment. John, thank you again.
Be well.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.